Hey, welcome back. This is the Bad Samaritan Podcast, everybody. I'm your host with my brother.
What to do?
Hey. So, we know it's been a while. We kind of fell off a little bit. It was a hard end of the last season. So, today we're going to go over a few things. We're going to talk about this Super Bowl that we had. We're going to talk about how the offseason went. And we're going to talk about week 1. And then I'm going to give you a brief little overview about what's going on in week 2. All right, brother. We faced the Kansas City Chiefs for the second time. And we lost to them in overtime.
Yeah.
Key takeaways, thoughts, feelings. I'll give you a minute or two.
Key takeaways. Our offense was finally a juggernaut, but it committed the same mistakes it did in the last Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl before that, and that was abandoning the run. I've witnessed us lose 3 Super Bowls now in my lifetime. Unfortunately, I wasn't alive in the 90s to witness Steve win a Super Bowl. So I think it's me, I think I'm the problem.
I think you definitely are. You or Kyle Shanahan abandoning the run or refusing to address his internal guard play, I guess up until maybe this season, which could be a good foreshadowing for this last week. But, us stopping to run the ball was really frustrating. Although I will say that Spagnuolo is doing a great defensive job against us, stacking the box, forcing Purdy to play. Ultimately, I thought Purdy played a really good game.
Great game.
Didn't really have a lot of time to throw. I think Debo and Kittle might have been kind of hurt just by the fact that they weren't really getting open or doing anything. Or, just credit the Kansas City's defense for shutting them down. It was just really frustrating for a team supposedly full of, first ballot Hall of Famers or all these all-pros. The all-pros weren't all-proing on Super Bowl Sunday. And
my team didn't show up together. They felt individuals. They were trying their best, and it looked like it on the field. But it didn't look like nobody was the team wasn't together as a working machine in the offense. In the defense, in the podcast before, I've ranted on about Steve Wilkes losing his job, and we know now that Steve Wilkes did lose his job after that Super Bowl, but that was a great Super Bowl performance by him. I think the calls are great. I think the coverages are great. This might have been like a long game he was playing in order to defeat Patrick Mahomes. I think losing Dre Greenlaw, was it before the half? I believe so. It was
at the beginning of the third quarter, I think.
It was maybe or after the half. Losing Dre Greenlaw is a big was a big obstacle for the team. Not only for who's gonna fill that role, but I think the energy of the defense just kind of sapped away. Losing one of their best performers that day. I think he was performing above Fred, above Bosa, above anybody on the defense.
Bro, Greenlaw was walking on water.
He could
that first quarter, man.
He
was
looked
in the backfield. He was everywhere. Yeah, dude was on something else. I don't know what they gave him or what he took, or
it was too much for him.
It was wild, man.
Yeah,
I mean
that
Achilles popped off the ankle quick.
Yeah.
And that's all she wrote. But ultimately, that was a good team. It was a great team that we had. But Andy Reid is a better coach, and he proved it. I think that what was it, that kickoff or that punt that hit whatever that random special teams ankle was. It's just just heartbreaking. That was their first score of the game, I think. And just a series of unfortunate events. I think we've all been here before, but ultimately, I think Kyle needs to figure out how to call a better game plan that's a little bit more consistent and minimizes mistakes. Also, the big old mistake of not knowing the overtime rules. That's on him. I think, although Wilkes called a really good game defensively, I think in the key moments towards the end of the game, he and Kyle just weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
And then I think there was one where Wilkes calls a zero blitz, and then Kyle's literally on the sideline what the F is that? And called a timeout. And that's just the kind of stuff that you're not seeing from Andy on his sideline at this stage. I think Andy had about 10 years with the Eagles before it ended up being on the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of former head coaches on his staff that are clearly breaking down different parts of the ball game and owning it. And I think also Kyle losing talent and and any assistant coaching across all levels to all these different organizations is also kind of telling. I think it's impressive that he's able to go to Super Bowls and deep into the playoffs, despite every year losing key people of his staff. I think if we had some more seasoned people that are like looking to stay, we'd have a little bit more of a tighter like run ship, right? But ultimately, I put that on Kyle. I think I don't really have much else to say for Super Bowl other than it sucks that we lost. But and I know we're gonna go into the offseason stuff, but I want to get your thoughts on just because I know we've talked about it, but organizationally with Kyle, I think he's obviously a great, offensive kind of mind, and he puts together great plays. But I really think what's holding him back is not having like some veteran or some kind of old head type coaches that aren't looking for a new gig, that are really just trying to like have a good career, Like Kyle's working for Kyle Shanahan and being on the 49ers is essentially like almost like quarterback you if you're a backup quarterback. It's almost like
running back you if you're running back.
Yeah, it's like anyone that comes here after here has a great like opportunity to go work elsewhere. And it's not just the players on the field, but it's also the coaching and in the staff.
They stole Boombox.
Yeah, our Boombox guy got poached by another team. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Boombox and guy. So like, I just curious on your thoughts on that because I have a lot of them, but I feel like that's something that, in a space where there isn't a cap restriction, I definitely think we should be investing a lot more in.
I agree with you. With the Kyle needs a veteran or someone to be stable in a position like that, and I think it's tough because a lot of what's great with Kyle Shanahan is that he can make those coaches. McVay or LaFleur or Robert Saleh. D'Amico Ryans. I'm not saying Kyle made these guys, but under Kyle's organizations, his tree is thriving. Kyle Shanahan almost has like a Bill Walsh-esque tree at this point in the NFL, and it's frustrating because I think we're both going to be talking on that same topic of these Super Bowl winning teams have either veteran coaches that are head coaches solely and have great pieces around them that stick around. Let's say Belichick. He has Vrabel, and he has all these other pieces, or Josh McDaniels. Even Josh McDaniels leaves for a bit, and he comes back to the Patriots, and then they go run it again. We talk about McVay a lot, and McVay getting, what's his name?
Wade Phillips.
And, an old head defensive-minded coach who can just handle the defense by himself. We talk about Spagnuolo. And so I do believe that that's kind of what's missing for this team, or Kyle Shanahan himself, because we've noticed that, yes, Kyle Shanahan is a great offensive mind. He can drop these plays. He knows how to run the ball wherever he wants, with little linemen, with big linemen, with whoever's back there. But I think he's a little too spread out in order of responsibilities for him to perform highest in the offense solely.
To compete, not to perform, but to compete at the highest level in the championship game.
The championship game, yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not trying to make cop out for him. Like, you lost the game, right? But I mean, the reality is that he has been successful in his last 8 years with us.
In his career, he's been successful.
And I think him being able to adjust this facet of his like operations, I think is what's going to put him over the top. Like, to me, if the Jets were to fire Robert Saleh this season, I would love for that dude to come back.
Yeah,
having all that experience in as a head coach, coming back here to like bring another brand of his defense, maybe tighten up the special teams. Like, there's just things that you learn from being out and working on your own, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a good transition into the offseason. Kyle did bring in Brandon Staley, and as I think like head coach assistant, I think is his official title, something like that.
Yeah.
Who, if you guys don't know, he used to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers before Jim Harbaugh came back. Ooh, we should talk about Jim towards the end. What's dude's name that's now the defensive coordinator?
Sorensen. He's an inside. He's been in the building for quite some time. He's an ex-football, an ex-NFL player.
Was he linebacker?
I think so.
Yeah. So another promotion from within. So all like kind of the D'Amico Ryans kind of approach, and then kind of he's the reason I bring this up is because I think maybe Kyle Shanahan is trying to do what we're saying in terms of bringing this Brandon Staley is. Like, Brandon Staley wasn't a great head coach with the Chargers. Before he was a head coach, he was a defensive coordinator. This is now like the second former Chargers head coach that we hire, because we also had Anthony Lynn, who I thought was going to do work wonders with our run game, but I haven't seen it. But I can't tell if that's because of him or because of Kyle. But I will say that I was pleased by seeing that. I like seeing the more experienced head coaching come in, or people that just have previous head coaching experience, because every time I see us put on a team in the field, I see that we're very prepared for what's going on.
Yeah.
And this offseason, I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little better. We definitely bled some coaches, but we brought some quality guys in. And as I know that Kyle Shanahan, is probably like hard at work. So there's probably some other assistant guy right now that last season was watching film in some closet that now is like drafting plays or something, and in like 10 years, that guy's going to be the head coach of some other team that, related to the Kyle Shanahan tree.
Small correction. Nick Sorensen was a safety for the Rams, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, so far so good. In terms of off season, I know we touched on coaching. Did anything stand out for you? I mean, it seems like it was a pretty quiet off season. Any thoughts on our off season?
I want to even go back before OTA. I want to go to the draft. We won't go into deep diving, but just I want to talk about the philosophy of the draft and why the decisions were made, I believe. Watching the Super Bowl, it was very clear that our offensive line isn't where it needs to be in order for us to block Chris Jones and block these premier defensive lines, to protect Purdy, to give him enough time to make the plays. And everybody knows that's what's wrong with the Jimmy G Super Bowl, and that's what was kind of wrong with Harbaugh's Super Bowl as well. Is our offensive line wasn't able to hold up. Although I give Harbaugh his flowers, because he's gone against some amazing defenses, maybe Hall of Fame defenses in his era as a Niner, which I can't give credit to Kyle Shanahan. But other than that, let's go back to the draft. First round pick, Ricky Pershaw. Interesting pick, just because I do believe we did need maybe a receiver. I didn't think it was our biggest need at that time, and I didn't think Ricky Pershaw was a first-round prospect. So I was a little bit apprehensive of that decision by Kyle, just because why draft a receiver if we can't give 3 seconds to throw to him, We did end up drafting a nice interior guard in Dominic Pooney, who was performing well currently, and who performed well in the offseason. And he has a great repertoire in college, where he was a tackle and a guard. And so I hopefully in his NFL career, he has the ability to move around in the line as well. I know Kyle doesn't really like doing that sometimes. He kind of likes keeping guys where they are. But to me, being a swing tackle or even a swing guard, or he also has center experience with Kansas. If something like that, where let's say Brendel or whoever the backup is goes down and Pooney can play center, I would like to see that, and I would like to have our offensive line be developed in a fashion in that manner. Other than that, we drafted some cool skill position guys. Nothing really jumped out. I'm really pleased with the corners that we drafted in Renardo Green. We drafted some great skills position. I think other than the first round pick, this draft class so far to me was actually really pleasing to see. In the first round, nothing against Ricky Pershaw. He's a great athlete, and but I just don't think receiver, especially when we're in the middle of the Brandon Ayuk contract situation, was our biggest need. I think we needed to fill the trenches either on the offensive line or the defensive line. But I understand having the insurance of, hey, like, Brandon's not.
Yeah, it's exactly what that is. And if it wasn't Brandon, it's also like at the time when we're filming this today, it's Wednesday before the Vikings game. At that time, Debo hadn't restructured his contract. Brandon wasn't 100% in the building. So all you really had was Debo and Juwan Jennings and maybe Conley and Ronnie Bell. Yeah. So, assuming that your goal is to maybe next season, right, make sure that we're under the cap and people cooperate, Like, I see why you drafted Ricky Pershaw, where you're like, you know what, I need my quarterback to have a receiver that they took a rapport with.
I understand.
Especially given Debo's injury history,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of unknowns there. I think also, I'm not too interested in going into the draft. I think it's kind of hard for a team of our caliber to really find like plug and play players immediately at this stage, just because we have so much talent almost at every level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the D line has Nick Bosa. I mean, we did a great job in free agency.
We did
with
Mr. Floyd.
Yeah, Floyd and Malik Collins in the interior.
Collins, yeah.
Our run defense, I think, was 26th in the league last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can get back to the top 10, which brings us to this last week. We had a great showing against the Jets, who I think by the end of the season will be a top 15, top 10 rushing attack defense.
Yeah.
So that was really good to see us kind of fix it through free agency. I know we had a couple guys. I think Khalil Davis got hurt this offseason.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. I think he showed some spurts, I think, last season in the Eagles game where he looked really good for a big guy. And so I think with the rest of the draft, you're really not hoping to see much of them this season. But I think you're going to see more of them probably like towards the middle or end of the season.
Yeah.
And probably most likely actually challenge last season. I think when I think about draft, it's like, hey, like at this point, it's safe to say that Deommodore Lenoir was a good draft pick.
He's a great draft pick.
He's over here showing some signs of life at nickel. And I think that kind of brings up the whole, like, hey, do we have a right corner,
Yeah.
And so hopefully some of these guys that we drafted will kind of fill into that space. And depending on what goes on with Travis Ward, then we'll maybe have a replacement for him if we can't re-sign him. But, I mean, it's pretty impressive given the fact that we've been able to kind of keep this level of talent together for these amount of years.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens often. And although this week, we did have a couple of kind of new guys out there, overall the scheme held up and they played really well.
Yeah.
So kind of transitioning from off-season and player development, I think with the contract stuff, I think we'll just say if Brandon Ayuk would have went to the Browns for that draft trade or whatever, I think I would have been okay with it.
As well.
I think ultimately after, we've been doing this for a long time, right? Like we fans, in terms of like, hey, we wanted to keep DeForest Buckner, but Defoe didn't want to play ball, right? He wanted more money. He wanted what he wanted, and he should. It's generational changing money and wealth, right?
Of course.
Eric Armstead could feel a certain way about not being given whatever he thinks he's owed, but
he played 7 games.
He barely played, right? And I think sometimes these contracts are like, you're getting paid for what you did, but really they should be about what you have left to give.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to win championships. And so I think he did the right thing by going to the Jags and following his money. And I think that's why every free agent that comes here or every player that we trade that comes here doesn't get bothered by the fact that they can go to another team and get cashed out, whether it's Arden Key or Aziz Shair.
We're an amazing bridge team.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful in the NFL.
Look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, who ties into this upcoming week, former backup for us. And I think they're paying him about $15 million or something.
Yeah,
right?
It's 13, I think, something like that though.
Which is great for him.
It's great.
His career was on the outs.
Yeah,
and he came back to the school of Shanahan, and he got himself another gig.
And he learned how to quarterback. I actually had nothing against Sam Darnold on our team. I think he was performing well.
Yeah, I would have loved to keep him.
I would have loved
to keep him for the money reasons.
Yeah. And I understand not keeping Sam Darnold for saving the cap, and we have a lot of players.
I always love a good Sam.
Yeah. You did. He was a quality son.
Yeah, he still is. I mean, if you don't know, he's the
USC
he's
number
the
1
highest
pick.
ranking quarterback coming into week 2. You know who's number 2? Brock Purdy. So we're seeing number 1 and number 2 this week.
I didn't know that he was number 1 rated.
Yeah,
but
sexy stat. You want another one? The 49ers have not won in Minnesota since 1992.
What? I thought it was like 2009. 1992?
Yes. Oh, no. Steve Young.
And we haven't even faced Justin Jefferson ever, I think, because he was hurt. Last year.
That's true.
So
Kirk was picking us up. So we're probably going to lose this game.
No. I actually let's go back to week 1 recap. We haven't even talked about the amazing performance that we put on. This game was every game I've ever wanted to see from Kyle Shanahan. And we've seen it before, but this is the game I wanted the Super Bowl to be.
Yeah, man. It's so frustrating because I know where you're going with this. And I've seen Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan can do anything. He can do anything. He can go and run any style of offense that he wants. He put some trick play
Trick
in there
plays,
for no
West
reason.
Coast, vertical offense,
Power
spread,
and I think
read option.
I'm gonna give like Jay Ponchez Mason.
Jason Ponchez Mason, man.
No, it's Jordan, bro.
Is it Jordan Mason? Oh, it is Jordan.
Yeah, bro.
I'm tripping, bro. My fault. I call him JP. He's JP, bro.
Jordan Ponchez Mason, bro. He's been on the team since Brock Purdy came in here, and every offseason, I've been talking about using more of Mason. Downhill runner. I think the knock on him was that he couldn't pass protect. But even last season, if you guys remember the last week of the season when we played the Rams at Levi's, he got the bulk of the carries because we were like load managing CMC, right? Mm-hmm. And this dude was running for like 5.5 yards.
6 yards a carry, dude.
It was ridiculous, bro. And I've been saying, I was like, me and the fans in the stands are just like, yo, like,
when are they gonna run this guy?
When are they gonna run this guy? The media guys are when are they gonna run this guy? And Kyle says something like, oh, when we have the best back in the league, like you have to run him. And I get that, bro, but like. No. I'm not saying give him all of CMC's carries, but what's 5 to 8 carries a game?
I am. We've had the best back in the league before, and we still split his carries.
Exactly.
Raheem Mostert was the best back in the league.
And I think like I was just thinking about it because we saw that clip of Marshawn calling CMC Snowbody Pearl. And I don't know if you remember Marshawn Lynch's career, but Marshawn Lynch always had a couple extra backs that would come in and take some carries.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Jonathan Stewart, I believe. Freaking Mike Robinson.
Yeah, there was Leon. I think Leon Washington was over there. But it's my point being that it's like, yo, like
freaking Mike Davis.
In a backfield where you have this kind of talent in Mason, like you're not gonna tell me that Mason didn't have the game that he had this last season. Mm-hmm. Even just, and I'm not saying like, bro, I think Kyle ran him like 28 times or something.
It's ridiculous. Most of any Kyle Shanahan
on the night that we honored Frank Gore, the dude had a Frank Gore night.
Had a Frank Gore night, and he performed amazing.
Yes,
reading the holes well. His vision is great. He always breaks
multiple times. He was carrying defenders on his back and falling forward multiple times.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and he runs with the engine. I love that he wears 24 because you were talking about Marshawn, and he's got the dreads, he's got the shimmy, he's got the strength, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, this kid is special, and it hurts me to see not see him shine in certain scenarios.
I think what hurts me is that we have guys, and Kyle Shanahan's he has this little trust or doghouse thing he does.
Yeah, I think it's an ego
that
thing.
It just really ticks me off because counter to what Andy Reid will be doing, it's like he'll bring some other guys and then just give them a shot. You know what I'm saying? And let them play and do something. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan, if you're not doing exactly what he needs you to do, then he's not gonna play you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just what's the value in that? You know what I'm saying? How is that helping you win?
I don't think it does in the end.
It doesn't. Because the reality is you could have Isaac Guerrero and JP Mason split carries, you know what I'm saying? To share the load.
Yeah.
Because if you're really looking at the carries, I think Debo had about 6 or 8 carries in this last game, and they were all tough runs. They weren't really going anywhere.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't need to really run Debo like that. Not anymore. Use your running backs. Look at what happened to Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell is on season-ending IR because we lost all our running backs. And we ran this poor dude into the ground.
Yeah, and he's a great running back.
And he's not a bad running back.
No, he's good.
We just never let him recover from a little nick here and a little nick there. And my thing is all right, CMC's already nicked up. If you're Mason's probably going to be fine. But if he runs 30 times, 25 times a game for the next 8 games, my boy's not making it to week 10, bro.
No, he's not.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm and what makes me mad is when we had Mostert, Breda, Jeff Wilson, he was doing exactly what I want him to do.
Spreading the love.
Why doesn't he do that with this superstar talent? It'd be you know how exhausting it would be to face a fresh CMC every other.
Yeah. A big theory of mine is, when we were playing franchise mode in this year's Madden, we did have a meeting with CMC in Madden. And he was complaining about not getting the ball enough.
He was.
And I'm not saying that he does in real life.
Yeah.
But after looking at contracts, looking at incentives,
Yeah.
looking at how we structure our
Yep.
deals,
Yep.
it makes me believe that in order for these players, like everybody wants their money. You know?
Yep.
Debo doesn't have to run, but Debo gets what? I forget the number, but he gets something for a rushing touchdown.
He made sure to put in his contract that and
rushing.
He's got the most total of any back.
Of any back. And so I'm like, okay.
Because of how we use him.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is now looking like, hey, look at us. We have the most cap space in NFL, but it's something about our weapons are limiting the highest potential.
You're touching on something that has been talked about in other podcasts, and I wish I knew who brought it up, but they're talking about Prague, and they're talking about, if you guys don't know, Prague is our guy that basically handles all of our contract situations.
Yep.
He's the guy that handles the York's money when it comes to like the other, like the soccer team that we own in Europe and like all the other kind of the portfolio of investments for the 49ers. He's a big reason why we have the stadium that was built. If you guys don't know, Jed York actually, he owns it. You know, it's not like some situation where there's other like
committee league,
or anything like that. And Prague is a big reason behind that. Him and Jed are super close. We're never getting rid of Prague. I don't think so.
No.
But Prague is not tied to any like football incentives.
Nope.
Right? He's just strictly the financials guy.
Strictly money.
And like what you're touching upon is if we're structuring contracts in a way that is misaligning the incentives of the player with the incentives of the team. Like that, it could potentially be putting us in this situation where, hey, maybe Kyle's trying to appease this player by giving him the touches or blah, blah, blah. And because of that, Kyle's just not looking at this team as just like a collection of men, but more so kind of like
a collection of goals.
Yeah, it's like why I was thinking about it like a movie cast.
Yes.
Where you have a lead and you have, you know, like the second person. And well, if the lead,
love interest,
he's getting paid, you know, the top of the bill, then he needs to have the most screen time, right? And I feel like that's what's happening here, and I think that's what's in the situation what we were talking about, like, oh, why can't he do it like he did it with Raheem or Breda or Jeff?
Because those guys were on nothing contracts.
Exactly, because we weren't paying them.
Do you want to talk about the play that called that out for us? Jordan Mason runs down the field on like a second down. Gets down at the 2.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, he scores.
Oh, no, he scores.
He scores, but they call a holding penalty.
Yeah, he scores. Debo holds some dude, which honestly didn't seem
it wasn't like
it wasn't a hold.
It wasn't affecting the play.
It wasn't. I don't think
Mason had already passed them, and it was like, if we don't have a video of it.
We don't have a video.
But Debo was like blocking him really well, kind of holding him behind the chest pads.
But it was inside the chest.
I think it was like maybe it's like Sauce. He kind of like shifts his body over so that he kind of like, his shoulder goes over Debo's wrists.
Yes.
So it kind of looks like a hold. But at the point in which that happens, Mason's already past them.
He's in the end zone.
He's already in there.
So we get called back. And obviously, in my thing, I was like, dude, Mason's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Mason's getting the ball. Right? Like, this dude, like, and then he's like, he's getting the ball, no questions asked. Brian goes, nah, this is a Debo touchdown. And I'm like, what? Here it comes. End around, like, motion, hand off to Debo. Debo trucks a dude on the second, like, yard line.
Almost fumbles it. Yeah.
Extends like a poorly carried ball into the end zone, scores. And then I'm sitting here and I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm like, why not hand it off to the best rusher in the game and get your points? And I was like, oh, Debo just got paid big bucks for that touchdown right there. And I was like, okay. If we're in positions that could lead the best interests of our players instead of the team, I think Kyle's gonna be like, all right, we're gonna give you this, and that to me scares me, especially later in the season and even in the postseason where I need the best play to be called. And to be honest, that Debo and
this is a good conspiracy hat theory.
My tinfoil hat is on.
Yeah.
But in my opinion,
the only counter to that I have is a Jawan Jennings. Because every time you need to play, Jawan's there.
I think Jawan Jennings is the safety. It's like, hey, fuck your guys' contracts. We need to get a first down. All right. I don't care about no rushing stats. I don't care about no receiving stats. We need a first down.
I will also say that because of the talent, Jawan is getting more one-on-one matchups.
4-on-1. Yeah, and Juwan's a great
he's
receiver.
a dog.
And he's a dog.
So he's getting those. He's winning those opportunities.
He's winning them
yes.
every single time.
But
and
there
it will
is
hurt
some.
me to lose Juwan in the future because we probably will.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I could see us losing him in this collection of talent that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like he's a great Niner. He was for sure. I mean, I really enjoyed having Kendrick Bourne that season that we had him with that collection of talent. But we haven't missed much with Juwan Jennings. That dude's. I wish I had his sexy stats because I think it's something ridiculous like of the passes that are thrown his way. I forget what the number is.
He's leading the league in third down conversions.
Yeah. But it's also like 80% of the passes he catches are first downs.
Yeah.
And so it's like that guy is just like Ayuk didn't have a great game this week, but he still draws double coverage
because he's Ayuk.
And Debo was he had a pretty decent game. I think overall the receiving core had like a C+ kind of game.
I give him a B. They had a B game and
yeah, but they get a C because Ayuk dropped that beautiful touchdown.
The whole collective,
bro.
I give Ayuk a D. I give Ayuk himself a D, and he's not even a part of my receiver room right now. He's on timeout. Right now. He's on timeout. He got benched, as he should have. He got benched for Conley and these other guys who've been getting reps.
Yeah.
But the receivers who were out there, I give them a B.
Yeah, that's really what that was.
Right?
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, like around, I think the start of the third quarter, it was right after Ayuk had dropped it. Kind of like low key the whole first drive of the third, like there's no Ayuk. And like we had Ronnie Bell and Conley, which I kind of liked. I liked seeing the rotation in there. Mm-hmm. I wish Kyle was doing this in the running back room.
I wish I saw Cowing. I wish I saw my rookies. I want to see my rookies.
Yeah, but he was rewarding the vets.
The vets, yeah. As he should have, and they did. They looked well out there.
Yeah, which in other seasons he doesn't.
Yeah,
you don't see those guys until like the playoffs.
Until the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Conley catches
no. Remember Conley's
corner route
first down versus the Packer game.
Oh yeah, he threw a corner route out of nowhere. His first reception of the year, I think. And then I was like, this guy just killed this corner on the Packer. And I'm like, we had this guy.
Yes.
Where's this guy been?
Well, the Chiefs let him go.
But we haven't used him the whole season.
Yeah.
And this guy just looked like Antonio Brown out there, and I was
he was killing it.
I was like, oh God.
I mean, but overall, collectively, we had a great game. Fred, just let's hand out some flowers. Fred Warner looked like a missile out there.
Leonard Floyd, wow.
Yes.
Upgrade.
Man.
Huge upgrade.
Bro, I don't even know how the Rams let him go.
Someone let him. Yeah, I think it was the Rams.
The Bears let him?
No. Sorry, the Bills.
The Bills,
because he ended Aaron Rodgers' career.
But I think he's been a Ram too, no?
I think he was a Ram. He's been a journeyman.
I feel like he finds success wherever he goes.
I think
and he stays healthy, right?
He's a great.
He's like a 9+ sack guy.
Yeah. I think
I'm really happy with him.
I think he's gonna be a great. Unfortunately, I do think we're gonna lose him because I do think he's gonna be a great piece for our defense, and he's gonna have crazy numbers, and we're just not.
He's probably gonna get cashed out.
We're not in the market to pay another edge rusher.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, he's gonna go get cashed out, a la Arden Key, all these guys. So, but like, if we could really capitalize with this guy's, I think he could not D Ford numbers, but it's looking like we have another guy on the other edge.
As long as he can stay healthy, bro. I don't even need D Ford like high. I just need. We were talking about this with the quarterbacks, right? And we could talk about it here with Josh Dobbs at 3 and Brandon Allen at 2.
Yeah.
Like, to me, my thought process is for a team that already has like a great amount of talent.
Yeah.
I care more about how high is your floor,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, are your downs really down?
Yeah.
Like, are your downs like you're missing tackles, like missing assignments? Because if your downs are you just don't get a sack every play, I'm cool with that, bro.
Yeah. And that's everybody on. I think that's honestly how Kyle makes his decisions on the team, is how low is your floor, and is that what we want out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about Dobbs and Brandon Allen, and I even think it goes all the way back to Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Trey
Lance's floor was too bad. I mean, you saw it in that preseason game. If you might have not seen it. For those who don't know, we had this quarterback named Trey Lance that we traded these 3 first-round draft picks for. And my man, he's just a young guy, bro. He doesn't have a lot of reps.
He still has a great ceiling. He has all the intangibles.
But he just needs playing time. He needs a lot more. He just needs, he probably needs to go play Arena Football League or something. He needs reps.
He needs to go play on the Patriots or something.
Something, man. He needs to be in a no pressure situation. He needs to have some time to grow.
To
Maybe
make
go
the
play in
mistakes that he's
Canada.
gonna make. you know?
Yeah, he needed another season.
Which I think was a mistake
think
from
he
him
ended up
leaving
throwing-
college so early.
Yeah, he threw like three picks or something for the Cowboys this
Cowboys, yeah.
preseason. He looked really bad. But my point being that when your floor is that low, when your floor is 3 picks, that's unwinnable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think in our room with Josh Dobbs, the reason why he was a journeyman like last season was because of those picks.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's why he's QB3. And I think once he learns the system and kind of like reins it in a little bit, he'll get some time. You know, I think if he's a smart guy, I think he'll wait it out.
He's a passer now.
Yeah,
He's the smartest guy.
Yes. So
I think he just needs the experience, especially in a Kyle Shanahan
in a more pro style system.
In a pro style system,
Yes.
because he does like what I saw from him in the preseason was he wasn't really quarterbacking the team, and Kyle does need a field general.
Yes.
Because it's not.
I think every championship team needs a field general.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can't remember the last time an athletic freak won it.
I was gonna say Russell Wilson.
No, but he was a great passer on that team and had a great run game.
I think you're right. I think field generals win because
the last one that had a chance was Cam Newton.
Yeah. Last one, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about all of the guys. The problem with those,
because it's been like Brady, it's been Burrow, it's been Mahomes, it's been Stafford.
Mahomes is just the best hybrid of, hey, I can beat you wherever. I can beat you with my legs. I can beat you on the field.
No, but Stafford, he can execute an offense.
Matt Stafford?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's a field general.
Yeah,
so is Andrew Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is, and to me, Patrick Mahomes' best comp is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, if he was
young injury,
like
young Aaron,
young Aaron without injuries, like you know, he's escaped the pocket, throw the pass.
Yep.
You know, manage the offense really well, and just
Patrick's numbers just look crazier because of the rules and the time he plays in,
and the receivers he has. Like he got lucky with, he's really
Tyreek
lucky with all those guys. Aaron has never had a first round wide receiver in any draft.
Bro, they don't draft.
They don't draft receivers.
They never. He had Devontae.
Yeah, I think Devontae was like a steal for him. I think, and I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. But I think my comp with the Dobbs and with some of these other guys is like the athletic freak quarterback is not enough.
It isn't enough to win you the game. It is enough
not against championship level coaching.
It's not enough to win the Super Bowl. It's enough to change momentum.
Yeah.
And to like get the ball like really rolling, which was interesting because Kyle loves that. That's RG3 and Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
That's why he would switch him. That was Trey Lance and my boy Jimmy. Like that's what it was. It was this quarterback duo where I could.
Well, the RG3 situation was him and his daddy wanted Kirk.
Yeah.
And Zach wanted RG3.
Yeah.
Right. And so
but the way that they used him was, hey, we're gonna run teams down with RG3. And then we're gonna manage teams out with Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
And then sometimes they would mix it, and they looked unstoppable.
Yeah,
you were like, oh,
that was a fun team.
It was, it is like a fun. And the defense.
I think they still had Santana Moss that season.
They did.
Yeah,
and they had Pierre Garcon, and they had Alfred Morris.
Oh yeah,
that team is really good. Jordan and they had Trent. Jordan had young Trent. Yeah, it was a good team.
Yeah. Alfred Morris wrecked fantasy teams that season.
Oh, did we give our flowers to everybody yet?
No, we got distracted.
Yeah, we got distracted.
Our bad.
So our defensive flowers was Federico Warner.
Yeah, that peanut punch.
Peanut punch.
He's got sexy stat is I think he has 12 forced fumbles. Second all time as a 49er to who? Patrick Willis at 16.
Ooh. Patrick Willis had a cast on though when he probably got most of a lot of those peanut punches.
Hey man.
All right, my second unexpected flowers is Malik Collins. Wow,
bro,
block shedding ability, crazy run stop ability, exactly what I need. I think Malik Collins actually helps out the interior line like Javon Hargrave. I think this is the first time I've seen Javon Hargrave make a solo like a tackle by himself because Malik Collins was doubling. So I was like, wow, Malik Collins, you're doing great. Javon Hargrave, I give you like a daisy, like one little like wildflower. He looks a lot better than he did in my opinion in the last season, but it's not where I want him to be yet. Who else do I give my Diamador Lenore playing in the nickel? Wow. I think 2 years ago I wanted to get rid of Diamador Lenore, and I have to give my flowers even to Steve Wilkes because I think Steve Wilkes brought out the best in the secondary. Because Diamador was on his way out, I hate Ambry Thomas, but Ambry Thomas does look better than he used to. Even though I hate him and I never want to see him on the field. Isaac Yiadom, he looked decent. He was behind a couple of players, but I do like his like on the field IQ, and
he seemed like he was in the right
spot,
but maybe like a tad behind sometimes.
A tad behind, yeah. But he knows where to be.
Yeah.
He just needs. I think what he needs is the more
reps.
And I do want to.
And it's his first time playing with these guys.
Yeah, I want to see him out there.
But yeah, that whole left side of the field with Campbell, him, and Odom in the safety position were giving me like kind of a little bit of pause. But we still won. But
I want to see somebody else.
I want to see Hufanga come in.
I don't like. I love George Odom. I think he's a decent safety. But I do want to keep him healthy for being our special teams guru guy.
Yeah,
because I think it's super important. Because
he played decent enough. He like wasn't getting burned.
But
similar to what you're saying.
We have safeties.
But I think once Hufanga comes back, I think
I want to see my rookies.
I want to see Mustafa. I want to see
Mustafa.
Yeah. I want to see. Yeah. Well, I want to see Mustafa almost at a linebacker position.
Yeah,
I want to like in a big dime.
I want to see Mustafa what Eric Reed didn't want to do.
Yes.
When Eric Reed didn't want to come down in the box and play linebacker, I want to see Mustafa get those reps.
Yeah, the Eric Reed thing I think was more of a contract thing than a position thing.
Whatever, dude's not even in the league anymore. So
yeah, but his brother got his get back.
His brother's a way better safety than he is.
Yeah, but that
he can cover anybody on the field. He's great.
Yeah. That's why he's getting paid what he gets paid.
But I gotta give my flowers to that guy. Shavarius Ward is probably he's probably the best corner.
We didn't say his name because he didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't do anything wrong. He's probably one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah.
So it's gonna hurt me when
he dropped that pick. He almost had a pick. It's like in his fingertips.
Yeah. It's whatever. The dude has the best pass breakups in the league.
Yeah. I wanted that for him.
Yeah.
Just for him to get recognition.
Nick Bosa didn't get a sack that game.
I don't think Nick Bosa got a sack. But if he did, it's probably like a half sack that he shared with.
Yeah. But I did like his pressures. I like that he's
getting hold, bro.
Yeah, he's getting hold.
I can't.
But his motor looks a lot better than it did in the previous season.
Yeah.
Which to me is like a big plus.
Yeah.
I think last season after the holdout and stuff that he was going through, it kind of like set him back.
I don't understand on this like holding thing. I don't understand if it's like, oh, Kyle doesn't say anything he's gonna get fined, or because of whatever. But like it's really ridiculous, man. Like the legal formation stuff on the offensive line. The lack of calling holding penalties to get the offense stuff going, like that stuff, man, like that kills me, because it's like,
I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat back on. I think all these rules are meant to not make us win.
Yeah,
the CBA were meant to, salary cap was meant to, hey, Niners can't get getting these dope guys.
Yeah, Niners can't, keep winning Super Bowls in the '90s. So
let's and you're like, oh, Nick Bosa's getting held. Nah, it's all right.
Yeah,
and Nick Bosa,
he's getting like he's getting chokeholds.
He's getting put in chokeholds, and then and it's not just it's every time. And I would love to see like a compilation of just Nick Bosa holds. And I don't know if Joey gets the same treatment. Maybe it's like a Bosa Mafia thing. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, they just don't care. I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna do. I think Kyle needs to make a bigger deal of it. I think he needs to call some people out. In the Super Bowl tape, you can see that he's telling him like it's happening. He's telling the refs. And they're not doing anything about it. So it's like, I get it. Sometimes in the NFL football, you just got to do business the way the business is being done that night. But it's just frustrating when they're like actively working to take away one of your strengths.
Yeah.
But
I did like what I saw on the field. He was getting back there. He was doing his thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll give him a little bit of flowers.
Yeah. I think the way I think that we're gonna have to overcome that kind of stuff is just starting to have kind of more like complex like defensive like structure and stunts and do little things just for pressures more than sacks. And get them to move off the ball, because if they're not going to call the sacks, then put them in difficult positions.
No, I need sacks. This hard. What you're talking about right there is the Steve Wilkes philosophy of the defense. And yeah, we were probably the highest pressuring team.
We got to move the pocket. But I'm just saying, it's like if we're going to be I'm definitely for getting sacks. But if we're being prevented from getting sacks by these holds, then we need to have a plan B.
Yeah, I understand.
Because it's not going to be...
What was in our best benefit this game was that Aaron Rodgers is coming off an Achilles and doesn't feel comfortable escaping it.
Yeah.
Which is scary. That's going to come up in the near future is when we have to face
But if we have to see him again, it won't be into the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But like when I have to face Kyler, when I have to face Lamar, when I have to face Josh Allen or Mahomes or these guys that can get out the pocket, and I want to see how much we can contain.
How many ACLs that we break on that?
I hear
you.
On those kind of plays.
Yeah.
Let's talk about week 2. Week 2 is coming up against the Vikings. Like you said, we haven't won in Minnesota since when?
1992, I think.
Since you're damn, bro.
Yeah.
You're cursed, bro.
I know.
It's your fault.
No, wait, no. Steve won when I was born.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
No, yeah, I'm cursed.
Yeah.
What do
it's
you
the older 90s babies.
I think okay. So, big red flags that I see against this Vikings team. I think their defense has always been decent. I think this year might be a little bit less elite. But a person who scares me on their offense, other than Justin Jefferson, is Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, with the Packers before, now is a Viking. Dude has been a dog. In his last playoff appearance with us, he was dicing up the field. I think he had a career game against us. And I think he can do similarly this week. I don't know much about the Vikings offensive line and how well it is. I don't think it's that great, but it might be. It might be even better than ours. But I am scared of Aaron Jones's like zone reading and outside run ability, just because I've seen what this defense has done against Jahmyr Gibbs. I've seen what this defense has done with other backs of Aaron Jones's archetype. I did really enjoy us locking down Breece Hall's passing ability and his bouncing out. But I am more scared of a kind of a bigger, bruisier back in Aaron Jones. And obviously, yeah, we're going against one of the dopest Sams in NFL right now.
Yep.
So
it's going to be a good matchup. I think things to look out for is, obviously Sam has some familiarity with our system. How quickly is he going to get the ball out? I don't expect a lot of movement from Sam out of the pocket. Mm-hmm. So I think that, to your point, takes one of the aspect of that our defense has to worry about.
He has sneaky speed, though.
He does have sneaky speed, but he's not a Kyler or he's not a Lamar.
No.
So I don't think we have to worry about like running specific contains.
Mm-mm.
But obviously we've never seen Justin Jefferson versus our defense.
Nope.
So he's probably going to get his. If he runs on, you see Yakum on that side, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Campbell also couldn't really cover.
Campbell.
And Mason's a great catching back.
Yeah.
So they're gonna get the ball out.
Yeah.
Right. They're running kind of that McVay kind of dude's a protege of McVay.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of like loosely related to that Shanahan tree. In terms of getting the ball out and being able to get the ball deep.
Mm-hmm.
It was them last season that were down like 30 points to the Colts. Was that them? So they have comeback ability,
yes, yeah,
right?
They do.
And so I think it's going to be a really tough game. I wouldn't be surprised that we lose, being that we haven't won there in a bit.
Game?
But yeah, as our man Brian would say, it's a trap game. But I'm going to say that it's going to be a really close one. Do you want to give a score prediction?
Yeah, sure. I'll give a score prediction. I think what did we score this game? 30? 30? No, sorry. I think this. I'm gonna check the spread really quick. So this game we scored 32 points. I believe we score. I don't really believe in that Vikings defense, and I think our offense is humming pretty well, especially if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play again. I don't really want to see him till maybe week 4 or 3. And so if we can run the ball and do what we did against the Jets, who in my opinion are superior defense, I think we score still in the upwards of 30 points. And I think our defense can hold at least 21 to the Vikings. Maybe 24, I'll give them max. But okay, 24-30 is my prediction.
24-30.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good one. I think we're obviously we're listed as favorites coming into the game. I think they're giving us like 5 points. I think that's fair. I mean, that kind of falls in what you're saying with the 24-30. I think it's like 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking something similar. I'm wondering. I think Kyle scored on 8 drives this time. I think only had like 1 point.
6 field goals.
And so quite a few field goals. So let's assume 2 of those field goals are touchdowns, right? That's another 8 net of what, like 8 points.
8 points, yeah.
So I'm gonna say we drop 35 on them.
35,
and I'm gonna say that we hold them to 20 points.
Ooh. Okay. 20 points.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think that team's gonna be kicking field goals a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think our red zone defense is pretty good. So we'll probably see a lot of field goals this game again.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was the Bad Samaritan podcast. We will be with you every week from here to the end of the NFL season. Please like and subscribe and join us next week for more. Peace.
Yee.